$5 a piece.
The library's about the only other place to go, I think.
She doesn't have a map plotter though, does she?
I don't know.
We would have to like get this one in here fixed up if,
We've been trying to get rid of it.
yeah, we've been trying to get rid of it. It's still sitting there though.
Well, I couldn't pick it up and pack it off the other day.
No, it's too big, too weird shaped, too heavy.
It's two.
All right, Dennis,
TOO,
Todd, what do we
yep.
do about this? The one invoice is reimbursable on the temporary deck repairs. The other one is not.
Take it out of road.
The one that's not.
Yeah.
What is that one that's
How
not?
much is it?
$196,
But what bridge is it for? What is it?
Milwaukee.
It's for the final fix.
Part of it's,
Oh,
the second one is on the final, on the, coordination with the Western Federal Lands.
Todd's right. That's road.
Okay, and the conference call with the environmental response is on the temporary deck. And that's 392.
We gotta take it out of someplace, don't we? Be
That I take out of the 650
Right,
buck plot.
because we're reimbursing that account. isn't it?
Yeah. But I gotta make a note on it somehow, not that it hasn't been sent into MDT yet. Where we sent that stuff in already, do we just add another bill to it or invoice to it?
Yeah.
But he hasn't paid the,
Well, you guys just signed a letter and sent it off last week.
right,
Yeah, let's just do the same thing.
Just send them another one. So I probably want to make 2 claim sheets. That sound right?
yeah, that would probably be the best, to keep it
Keep it
Being-
straight.
straight.
That way-
Draw wattles and delivery, $11,400.
Isn't that amazing?
Semi-load, 2 semi-loads.
To go around all our little.
What are we doing here?
That's why we need to slow that process down and let them see it and think about it, because this 11,000 isn't coming out of their place, it's coming out of our place.
Well, when we were out there that day, Todd walked around there and said, this is $11,000.
Yeah, it's semi-load.
Carrot's in the wrong business.
Should be making waddles.
I waddle, does that count?
No.
I don't know if I liked how you laughed.
You was funny. I laughed because you said something funny.
He's a funny guy.
He's a funny guy.
He would have to invest in something that would shred the,
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Well, and he'd needed it. Yeah, it wouldn't be worth anything. I was just joking.
I see it shows me looking in the hatchery, second page. We're all looking down at the fish and it looks so stupid.
Funny.
and they went and took a picture of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a high school fish hatchery,
High school,
high school fish hatchery.
where?
And Colville High School, Colville, Washington.
Washington. I'm gonna go use the counter out here. So I can scatter my papers.
Okay.
I have one claim.
See? All looking at the fishing.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
Yeah. We're all looking at the fishing.
Funny. At least you can see the fish and you guys aren't.
But
just
it's a
looking
money
at the
maker,
bait.
it's a money maker.
They stock ponds and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
cool.
close with the Washington Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
So John got some repairs done on the siren over here, and I just wanted to make sure that it's okay to take it out of, like, this is buildings, and then 360, I think, is maybe contract services. I just wanted to make sure that it was okay to pay it out of there before it's one thing to do like a normal bill and then have you guys sign it after the fact, but something like this, I figured I should get permission for.
Is contracted services where we do it?
I believe it would be because that's mostly what it is labor.
Okay,
And then mileage. So it's not, I don't think that it would fall under like
You got-
supplies or anything.
Yeah, there were only two in
so
there.
there was hardly any parts, you just had to fix it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, but I don't know. Todd hasn't signed yet.
Either,
You need to sign it, need to look
Christine
at
hasn't
it.
either. Okay.
there were only two vouchers in there, right?
Yep, just the two. And then I only have one journal adjustment. And this is one that you guys approved last time for that junk vehicle transfer out.
Right.
I just went through and I did it. So then I'll have you guys initial and then I'm gonna email this to,
Those are the funds we transferred.
yeah, that's last year's grant money that got transferred into 4010. And then I sent off that invoice today and that gal said they're working on processing this year's grant money now. So.
Phone is really being a
You've
pain today.
you've been having problems with that today. Does it still work?
Well, that's why I have a very good case on it, because I drop it all the time.
No.
I have to replace my case about every, 12 months or so,
Oh, yeah, me too.
because I just wear it out.
Next
Yeah.
time my phone goes south,
So
I'm
before
done
you
with
feed
phone. I'm just gonna, don't care when it happened.
This is what?
I guess you have to sign that,
Actually,
I am.
initial it or something.
No,
Maybe you don't, but thank you.
Get one of those old like car phones that's like a whole bag.
I used to have one of those
I bet you did, because you're a mover and a shaker.
back in the late eighties.
Mm-hmm.
My dad had one of those too, 'cause he was always gone on a construction site somewhere, so.
Mm.
You know, those were satellite phones. I mean, beam me up, Scotty, and
Okay,
They
I'm
should-
gonna wait for Christine.
maybe.
Although I guess she went out here.
That was
Yeah, you
pretty
can catch her
expensive.
out there.
Okay. Yep, that was all that I had, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
He's coming in.
is Tara coming in today?
Yeah,
Who? Yeah, it looks that way. I mean, I asked her, I texted her and see, I don't have her phone number, but I got her email and I asked her if she was staying here all afternoon. Misery loves company.
Absolutely.
so where's,
You know, the most conservative people in our county are wanting to zone.
Go figure.
I think the misconception of what they can do with zoning is, I think, the biggest problem.
Dawson County years ago during the second oil boom, which been 2005, 2010, someplace in there is pretty busy. They were going to zone countywide as ag. And you would just come in, if you wanted to do something that was outside of ag, you come in for a variance. Request the commission to give you a variance for another business. And for some reason, they just dropped it. I don't know.
You know, Todd, I've told the story when we left Seattle. It's just, and that was part of it. When we buy a station to remodel it, I mean, take out 2 service bays, keep 2 of the 4, put convenience in there, not change footprint, not anything, put new canopy up. Used to run us about 300,000, then went to 6, but we went through 18 different revisions on architect, because you've got to have an architect redo it every time. And we had 18 meetings because they didn't like this, they didn't like it through the zoning. And then after we finally got to do it, it took us several months to pull it apart, put new tanks in, I mean, really made it a Cadillac. And then what killed me was we were done, we were up and running, and the building code inspector come by. And he said, you gotta change the lights in your canopy. And I said, but you made me put those lights in the canopy, those are yours, doesn't matter. I says, doesn't matter what, he says, you gotta change them. And I says, I'm not changing them. He says, yeah, you are, because you get 6 months in jail and you get $1,000 a day fine until you change them. When I signed this, he gave me 30 days to sign it. And I said, why am I changing the light? He says, because you have illumination pollution. I never heard of such a thing in my life. When we started looking at farms and ranches, we looked at this one right out here that we bought. And Lisa Kimmeth was a clerk and recorder. I walked right in there, says, if I have land here and put a shop on it, what kind of permits do I have to have? She looked at me so funny. And she says, well, would you own the land? I said, yes, I would. She said, then you'd own the shop? I said, yes, I would. Well, you don't need any permit. You just gotta tell us how big it is so we know how to put tax on it. And I thought, these are my people. And what they don't understand is when they start asking for zoning, you open yourself up to some crazy stuff goes on because there's no end to it. What happens with it?
That number that there that ends in 6.
And it sounds pretty benign that you're gonna protect yourself from wind farm. The way to protect yourself was not sign the lease. That was the way to protect it.
Don't have translation of everything.
And if you think you have pristine view and it's got value, who do you sue? Nextera or your neighbor who signed the contract? It might be more legit to go to your neighbor, because your neighbor could have come to you and said, hey, got this contract. I'm thinking about it. What do you think? You gonna bother you or not?
You wanna do the whole.
I don't think that question ever crossed any of their minds as Simon.
Pennies from heaven. They didn't think about it. Boy, they're thinking now.
Oh, I candy.
My goodness.
Thank you.
I just hate the thought of it because I'm not a fan of this. From
20.
the get-go, how they look, how they get here, what the activities, just.
Well, I think the short thing is that no matter what you do, it's going to happen because the contract's already been signed.
But I don't think they have all the contracts.
And that's not enough.
Well, I don't know, but that's something we should ask Ross. Just asking point blank, do you got enough, Ross, do you have enough in the contract to complete the project?
That'd be a good question.
Yes or no?
Hmm.
Because that makes a big difference on our decision,
Yeah.
how we're gonna handle this. You got written contracts, signed contracts, and you got enough of them to make the project viable. Everything that Nextera does is through the goodness of their heart. Keep the peace.
It's just business. That's what it is, just business. From their vantage point.
Yeah, because once the towers are up, they don't have to deal with them much anymore. Well, Ross will never deal with it again once it's up.
No,
They'll go to the next project.
Yeah. Of course, it's not Ross, it's the company, but Trump could make an impact if you put an executive order in place on day one that says that there will be absolutely no green energy on public lands.
He could do that. He could do that.
It would
Yes.
slow it down anyway.
Yeah, it would slow it up.
Well, it'd make it look different too.
Cause you wouldn't be able to put your electrical lines through it and you wouldn't be able to put towers on it or solar panels and. But I don't think that's on his focus yet.
And the guy on the short list, that's on the short list for BLM director,
Alrighty, thank you.
Jim Carlson out of, Kansas.
Thank you.
Who's the guy that's been doing the studies and stuff for us. Like in the old growth stuff. He's the guy writing them and putting them together. And, if he gets in there, it's gonna be some change. 'Cause he's the guy that looks at regulation, says, yeah, it's unambiguous. That's what we do. Period. No matter which way it flops, that's what you do. He's regulation. I think that's what the BLM and a lot of these agencies got to
You got
do.
an expenditure sheet?
Do I have one?
Yeah, I need a number.
You just need a blank.
No,
Oh, no, I don't have one. An expenditure sheet. I do not have one.
What do you, expenditure sheet for what?
figure out what the road department number is that I need to put down.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Christine.
No, that's
Isn't
okay.
the Secretary of Interior part?
2110 and
Who's the Secretary?
There you go.
We oversee BLM and.
Yeah.
other agencies. Does Trump name Doug Bergen?
governor of.
No, that's the revenue.
Oh,
That's.
there's the revenue.
There, that's.
There's your expenditure sheet.
There. He's got some BLM, he's got probably 2-3 million.
There's your road right there, darling.
North, but nothing like Montana or anything.
Mhm.
Oh. Where do I take it out of? Supplies?
He already put them wattles down.
They're on the trailer
They're just sitting there waiting for them ready to put on.
because they're waiting because the BLM want to come out and show us how to do it. And the ones we picked up, the other wattles from the old piles, they're sitting on another trailer. Cause we'll use those too.
Some are sitting there on the ground and some are on a trailer. The old ones were on a trailer.
We spent what for seed? Finally, it was
Nine.
$7,000, but
The 8,900?
Oh, but he got that revised. Did you see the new one?
it's cheaper now.
Yeah, it's quite a bit cheaper.
Supplies? For the engineering?
No,
They don't have a.
It went from 6,800 to $850.
850.
what are we?
He already
Leafy
has
spurge
those.
seed or what?
Well, they're doing it at a 50-pound bag. And he's not gonna be able to do that all for a 50-pound bag. I think he didn't have some seeds in there that the BLM wanted, so then he had to go back
And get some other stuff.
and then he got a new. I don't know if I got the other one or not.
Yeah. So, I think. Maybe, no, enough.
They don't have a contract or a miscellaneous.
Yeah, I guess supplies is it.
And so he said, right. And, it's the only one. Later. Have you put your place? What? You just keep clicking. The first I've been told you that, I would. So, then the auto assign and total 25, and that's gonna be formed.
And that Rosebud County has some wind turbines in it.
Hmm,
Rosebud County has some wind turbines.
how many?
2, 60.
They got 3 farms, don't they?
They have 3.
And usually this one will be
279.
so that is you.
I need 2 paper clips, if you wouldn't mind. Take me all day to dig them out.
Do you see Trump going to Madison Square Garden?
Before the election. He just went, or
He just
He
get,
just showed up surprisingly. It was a Ultimate Fighting World Championship.
UFC.
UFC, and the guy gave him the buckle. And then did the Trump dance. The place went nuts.
when did he do this? Just recently?
Last weekend.
Oh, man.
People were asking the NFL to sanction the players who were doing the Trump dance last week, and I'm like, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. They did the Trump dance and after a touchdown or something.
Mm-hmm. It's
Signature.
okay for them to kneel during the national anthem, but it's not all right for them to dance like Trump.
It'd be a couple more weeks they'll be doing it and then they'll quit it.
Claim it.
You know, they get old.
Which one? This one?
Ed. I don't
They're having a
think it
good
makes
time.
any difference.
But it's funny how the mentality changes after
And this one?
the winter,
Yep,
isn't that?
one's on the Milwaukee and one's on the Thorn. Thank you. So we deposit this and put my papers in. What are you on
Hi, Lance.
Good, how are you?
Hey, Lan.
The other meeting.
No,
Down the hall.
We're, going to put a chair.
No, I was just gonna sit in the corner, out of the way.
Oh, no, here,
Here, Tara.
we're good. I'm gonna.
You were invited, I was invited.
Oh, I
You're
have to check for
invited.
you to sign. I'll forget if I don't send them to you right now.
Better get that out of there.
Oh, that's probably not important. It's fine.
Well, these landlines are getting less important all the time, aren't they? Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh.
I left in a hurry today and I realized that I forgot the CRO information that I was gonna give you,
You know the rule.
but
It's grandparents and grandchildren have a common goal.
Is this your guys' meeting?
well, it's not my meeting, it's their meeting.
Here, man. Hey, guys. Oh, our kid's been for you.
What are you doing?
I'm making them pay dearly.
What'd you think about last night?
I thought the Dawson County Commissioners kinda were behind the time.
Well, I don't think they care for the people. What do you think?
I don't know.
Lance, how do you spell your last
A
name?
lot of people
got
started
it.
contracts.
I'd be fine. How you doing?
There's a lot of interesting things going on right now with, isn't there though?
Yep.
Bob Phelan, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah.
Harry McNall. Harry McNall.
Okay, very. That not bothering you, is it?
No. Yeah, it's interesting.
It would have been nicer to know about this 5 years ago.
When they first were presented with the contrast. I'm Christine Feldman.
Hi, Christine. Good to see you.
I'll be back for more. You haven't said hello to me in 7 years.
Are you,
Each stand for.
just down the river from, Buford's?
For when next year is here.
No, ask
Yeah.
for, I'm on cabin.
I wasn't planning on it. I
I'm on
just,
the wrong side of that.
Building.
No, I'm thinking of, Sherm Plus. I was thinking of Sherm Plus.
Yeah, he's down there
Yeah.
Very
from
interesting.
Beaufort.
Yeah.
maybe for part of it,
No, Vern was there. I used to work for him on
I
occasion.
care.
Vern Moss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go pipe.
I just feel like
Use what?
maybe it's none of
glued
my
pipe
business yet.
for
I
him.
don't know.
People
Really?
sign some
Oh, yeah.
contracts, you know.
Yeah. Oh, Vern.
The shit they expect us to do now.
I know.
Well, you ready for the next session?
Do you guys record? Do I need to wait?
No, we're recording.
You're recording right now? Okay.
We got a couple
I
of bills
wanted
for
to
these.
talk to you guys about your CRO,
They
your,
have bond.
community
Year one.
reinvestment organization, if you were gonna pick someone for that, if you were gonna do
You're gonna have to be on the
HAB
same-
out of billing.
90 pages,
Yeah,
You've been going to those meetings and stuff, haven't you?
Yeah.
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 yeah,
And that is, you just have to do it before the end of December.
They prefer a couple weeks before the end of.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just wants to make sure that he knows who's all gonna be on the list, because they have funding that's secured as a match. And so you'll need to name them in your resolution as well.
So do I. And that's what I-
If you don't name them in your resolution, or if you don't pick any other CRO, the only other CRO in America, in Montana is NeighborWorks of Montana. And then there's also NeighborWorks of Great Falls, but they are just for the Great Falls area. So if you choose Housing Authority Billings as your CRO, just name them in your resolution, because if you don't,
It's been going on.
then the county has to come up with a match. And I know that you guys don't wanna do
I knew
that.
about it until
Right.
Yeah.
2 days ago. I want to know the truth.
Do you feel like you have all the questions answered about that program, or do you?
Yeah, Billings is.
Right. But
He's
the doc-
done a
but
good
the doc-
job
the
investing
DNR.
to have COVID match money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
And they'll- They'll work
And
with
so-
even like your school or hospital, I think, just to figure out who needs
Yeah.
housing. And do you even have any houses for sale though?
Last time we asked Tracy, I think she said there was 3.
Been,
Okay,
There's houses for sale, they sell like hotcakes.
yeah, I
I'm
know. I
assuming-
saw even,
Austin said.
in this report from NextEra, your median household income skyrocketed.
Huh?
That's been a done deal.
Been a done
Is that
deal.
because people work out of their homes for other
I heard
companies?
that, Custer County didn't get tax revenues because they
I
hated the.
don't know
I
what
think
it is.
it's because
That
of
nice.
the ag.
Do you know anything about that?
Okay,
Well, just what he said that day.
yeah, I didn't read the report,
The cap prices.
Yeah. finally.
Their tax.
1 year.
280,000.
All the only trouble is the expenses doubled.
Yeah. Yeah.
I seen some calves that went through the Glendive sale here the other day. They were 300 pound, 370
Affected their.
pounders.
That's
Really?
how I think
$4.
I interpret.
$5.
No,
Yeah,
That's what I don't like. is-
487.
for 300 and
They
some pound
said,
calves?
Yeah.
We're gonna.
Yeah, $5.
Make you not pay
They're gonna
taxes.
back-
$5 a pound.
Go down to the next community and say, yeah, we're not getting nothing wrong with that. Let the-
They'll probably
Sorry.
background them and then put them on wheat pasture and
Yeah.
then go to the.
Then go to the
feedlot.
food lot. Jeez, man.
One thing that was said last night, Ross said they
That
don't have
sounds,
their road
it's so
agreement.
expensive. What's that gonna do to
Sign. We're not
burger
signing
prices
the
in the
road
grocery
agreement.
stores?
Well, people still buying it.
Well, I hope so.
I mean,
That's the
pork,
goal.
pork's cheap.
But
Yeah.
not in the county.
I don't know who's buying beef.
That's because it's taken over by China. That's why pork is cheap, but I think you missed.
He signed. He signed, believe me. We got serious pay.
Right.
We have a thing on the road, but we have no other say.
Thank you for doing
I
that.
marked them in
You
blue.
have a spot at the table, being a stakeholder on, you know,
I'm probably not
ones that
gonna.
are coming and going and,
Um,
things that you can
I'd
request.
love
We
to
have
bring
dentist appointments that
Lane
get me
into the
to-
conversation of community benefits
You
agreement.
don't wanna miss them.
Well, they're.
And talk to you guys about that a little bit, because I know that it was
Dennis
like
and I, Dennis.
next era meeting.
You don't know what it be, no, we can't.
You better show Dennis or, well, doesn't.
Dennis, we wanna get started here.
For sales tax, for marijuana, for.
Thank you for doing that.
Well, we could also
Oh, no, hotel, they have hotel tax, the
say
tourism
that
tax.
it's not gonna be
there's a lot of-
recorded.
And they get a sign off on that,
Not according
communities,
to
I think,
the law,
I'm not
anyway.
sure. I'm getting that.
But I'll make up notes on how to do it, so somebody can do it when I'm not here, but.
Dennis, Tara needs to have the floor for a while.
All right, guys. And I saw Lance in the hallway, so I wanted to bring him in, but I wanted to talk about community benefits agreements. And we kind of already had a conversation about CROs, so I'll let Todd fill in on that. But so with NextEra for Dawson County, we've had discussions about community benefits agreements. I have not had discussions with NextEra for Prairie County. So I know that in your last meeting, you did have, or it was brought up that community benefit agreements are something that happens between companies that larger, if it's any kind of energy company, we see it with mines. The Stillwater mine was one of them, or with our wind farms.
Yeah.
It's separate from what the county does with the energy company. So I'm sure that you guys talk about community impact.
Did you see that development agreement? From Ross gave it to us.
Oh, okay. So this is your,
That's not ours, that's theirs they gave to us,
Mhm.
a starting point.
When did you get that?
Was the last commissioner meeting, did we?
You had one too, we all had.
The seventh commissioner, or the planning board, the seventh meeting.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't. It was the 30th. Yeah. It was on the
Sponsorship.
30th when we got that.
Go ahead, Tara.
okay. So this would be separate from what I see that he has additional development agreement with EPEDC that includes allocated funds to Prairie County residents, county and EMS so we would have conversations with Lance and with in general, just like community members to figure out what your priorities would be for the community. And it's like I said, it's a separate fund. So it's not tied to the county at all. But these agreements, which they're required to do, because they get federal funding, it's attached to their grant process. They're required to have community benefit agreements. And you can just Google community benefit agreements and it'll bring up even just the ones that NextEra has done with other people. So again, I would like to work with Lance and even with you all to figure out what your priorities would be. But for me, like off the top of my head, usually it's connected to economic development in general. So whether that be job training opportunities, if you guys even need just like a housing study done in your community, because if the wind farm has job creation, then where are they living? Like if it's full-time jobs, then there's no housing available. What are the opportunities here to do that? So we could do studies with that. And then we could also have grant match. So there could be a fund set aside, even just for the county. Like if you guys are wanting to do a project and you just don't have it in your general funds to do a grant match, this money could be set aside for that too. Or the city wants to do a particular project, there'd be grant funds set aside. That's how I would like to structure it, so that's not tied to a particular thing or place. That way it's a little more generalized, and then whatever the community priorities would be, then you could use it for that. But it would just all depend on what you guys,
This
however
is
you.
economic money?
It is. It's community benefit dollars. So however it looks to benefit the community. So it doesn't have to be economic development dollars, but
It's different than impact. dollars.
exactly,
Okay,
separate.
It's a separate
Could
deal.
you use that?
but it comes from where?
Next era,
Funds
Next era.
for
part of their grant
the
program, they
fairgrounds
get,
or something like that, or no?
Okay,
Yep.
and they have to include a local benefit. Yeah, and it's things they had listed was Yuppie Days and County
Yep.
Fair and Christmas Light Parade.
But-
that part I read, I'm
So it's
blanking
that
out on it.
yeah, that's a little different than like what EPEDC would do. I think that he wants us to, he would have a fund for you to do that. The sponsorship fund, that's only
Different.
$10,000. So that's actually different than a community benefit agreement. The community benefit agreement, I would hope would have a longer standing goal, not just your like, and not to sound like these are small things because they're big things, but they're just kind of yearly things that happen. I think that we could pick projects that have longevity. So whether or not you guys need a rec center and what that would look like we need to do the study first and do the pay for a PAR or PER, and then figuring out if you could have a gym in Terry or whatever you guys deem is important. I would love for it to have more of a future, not just a today decision, but a generational decision, if you will.
Fair Board's looking for a new building.
I know, we're trying to help them. And that's actually one thing we wanted to talk about too, today, was the fact that, I'd love it if we could apply for the CDBG planning grant through the county for that. Eastern Plains would like to help out there. We'll write the grant, but, we just want to make sure that the county is okay with being the sponsor for that grant. There'd be no match requirement. I think that we can make a case for, there's just not funds available. So, and your LMI is low because of all your federal land, obviously. So, yeah. That's another thing to bring up, but so that's another great example though of what these funds could be used for, like public spaces, things that create economic development in the future. Just, it's more of these dollars aren't necessarily like the 3 Ps where it's like parties, parades, and pageants. It's more of okay, how do we build something that'll gonna last, that create something for your future generations? And whatever that might look like. If it's downtown buildings, your museum, obviously, there's cultural opportunities there too, bless you. So, and I know that you have historical preservation grant, but it's like hopes and dreams that'll get picked, and then having to fund that project still. Like there's just, so this has the opportunity to be that kind of a fund for you. And again, it's separate than your impact dollars. So you guys negotiate with NextEra however you do, and this just has to be a Lance and I conversation, and then whatever community members you want involved.
And how many times does this come, once a year for 5 years or one time?
I think it'd be once a year for 20 years. But we would negotiate that with NextEra, and it would be whatever amount. And I don't know how you even pick the amount. If
So
it's
they
like,
get tax credits for these.
Is it?
Knew there had to be something.
sure.
in there.
It's tax credits.
yeah, so because renewable energy has, what are they, 80% subsidized? I don't know.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
It's heavily.
Yeah, I think it's like 80% subsidized, so, it's, I don't know, maybe it's like money laundering, if you wanna look at it that way.
Now, this is a Glendive and Prairie County, Dawson County and Prairie County, project, Eastern Plains, I guess it will be in Weebo too. Eastern Plains represents those counties. Are you gonna have it broke out per county, or?
We would say, yeah, it would have to be broke out per county, because I think that's the only way. I know that there's examples where it's not broke out by county. So for Montana Community Foundation with the Grid United Fund that goes for Fallon, Custer, and Rosebud counties, that's one fund that's held by Montana Community Foundation. And they have a separate grant committee, and that's really just, it's grant oriented, and they do a certain allocation per county, right? Like they make sure that one county doesn't get all the funds and another county gets all the
That's
funds.
probably done 1%.
Yeah, Yep, it's some percentage. I think Fallon County, I don't know what percent they get, but yeah, it's dependent on how much it's impacting the county, right? Like if it's just going through a little, I think it's in through square miles, if I'm not mistaken. So that's probably different than, I think that's different than this. I think that we should advocate for separate.
Yeah, we gotta
Deal.
make sure that it's not based like on population or something like that, based on impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then Webull County is a different company completely. AES is who's doing the
And
project.
it's not next year.
Yeah, yeah. And there's other wind companies looking at Dawson County, so there possibly is other wind
They
companies.
reached out to you first to bring up the community benefit agreement.
Mhm.
Our next area people.
They did. They
So
for
program
Dawson
is-
County,
is
and that's
available
really all we've spoken about
for
is Dawson
7:30.
County. Yeah, we haven't, I don't even,
Because you were caught off guard a little bit on.
At 2 o'clock.
yeah, totally.
Just
Because I
what
just
you
didn't
wanted
think,
to
I didn't know where everyone was in the conversation, so, yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out who all the stakeholders are. So.
Yeah, well, especially for, like you said, these community benefit dollars, it really has to be a conversation between, I think that they want to make sure that because it's tied to federal grant funding for them, right? Like they have to report on it. And so they want to make sure that whoever is doing the community benefit agreement will be able to account for the fund. And just like have accounting practices, maybe that's what they're looking for. Yeah. And I think use economic development dollars so that, again, the projects that are chosen have longevity and aren't just,
Did they throw out a figure?
no, no. And they would, and for Dawson County, they'd like to have agreements done by March, but like the timeline of the project, I don't know if that's,
They didn't give a figure for Dawson County either, did they?
no, nope.
Did you go to the meeting last night?
I didn't know about it. I don't know anything anymore.
I didn't know about it either. I was, I think Facebook is how, my mom told me on Facebook, but it was in the newspaper.
No, no, I went to the other one.
You were there.
I was, my mom told me to go.
You knew what your mom said.
Yes.
I heard it on the radio on my way home from Glendive,
Oh, shoot, yeah. In the
so I
snow,
didn't make it.
yeah.
So these funds really are to,
They're a
put
bribe.
emphasis on what we're doing.
Yeah.
Is what it is for the,
Yeah,
not so much the impact, but
No, not
the
the impact.
community spirit or
yeah,
accept it.
Community support for the industry.
yeah,
Look at those windmills.
yeah. How do you,
Yeah, they look better all the time.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
Ah, you're smoking your.
You can have the next era community barn.
No, ain't gonna happen.
Last night,
MDU does it. Why not next era?
last night, he said there's only gonna be 44 towers in Dawson County. Most of them is gonna be in
Yeah,
your county.
For about 150.
yeah.
And so what does that mean? There was 210, I figured, minus
287.
Not very many of them are phone then, are they?
No, there's
No,
not.
barely any in
No.
Macomb.
Very few.
Yeah.
The biggest impact is here.
And is that because you have the BLM land or because of the proximity to the
No,
other project?
proximity to, that's mostly deeded up that way and in Prairie County, and it's the divide.
Yeah,
Yeah, the divide is 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when we were looking at promoting the wind energy,
Yeah.
that was one of them's top spots in the.
22-mile-an-hour average wind speed in some of those test areas. What was that guy's name from?
all day, huh?
And there was, the thing that shut it down at that time was there was no transmission lines. Well, now they have transmission lines.
Yeah,
But
Yes.
one reason we were really pushing it at that time is we were also dependent on pulling oil. So things change in 20 years.
yeah.
Yeah. I think too, the bigger concept that might be here is your data centers are, it's like the Wild West for data centers right now too, is they're looking for places to build and they're looking for power.
But they don't want to use wind power. They want to use
Coal.
constant coal
Yeah.
and natural gas for
I
their
know.
data, and then they want to switch out for wind and solar that we get to use.
Yes, yes. And
Because
have your
it's-
rolling blackout.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get the rolling blackout, but they don't. I know.
they can't afford to have a rolling blackout on a data center.
Yeah, that's just it. So I don't know how Montana's going to be impacted by that either. Is Montana going to see rolling blackouts?
Well,
Yeah.
all this,
If they will.
Well, not get rid of, I don't think we'll get rid of, do you think we'll get rid of coal stuff at this point?
Hope not.
No, I hope not. I hope that they look to nuclear, and that's what the Energy Expo kind of lean towards, is that there's opportunities there that are being
well, what would
pursued.
happen if we throw a turbine in Yellowstone?
I don't know. Good question.
Generate,
US Fish and Wildlife Service. Yeah.
Several years ago, we were at a NACO meeting in Great
what
Falls.
happened? You're probably
Northwest
right.
Energy was
Not
there,
probably, I
Yeah,
know.
I love
And-
them.
and,
They're awesome.
they talked about what they have for wind, hydro,
They're purple.
natural
blue.
gas.
Yeah,
And,
it's
and
good.
they talked about in 5
Yeah.
years, which would be 2025, that
Mhm.
we would have rolling brownouts and blackouts.
Yeah, they still predict that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
Yep.
And those are the numbers, and I think they
Mhm.
said that was a 10 blow day or 20 blow day. That's what happens
I know.
to the energy.
I
That's
know.
what we have available. So they're
I come
anticipating,
from Hines, didn't
yeah,
it? Northwest.
One
yeah,
thing,
Vice President.
one thing you guys, I think, need to keep in mind is Buffalo Rapids, we have to heat our motors in the winter so they don't get
Mhm.
moisture built up into them. So when that wind's not blowing on these
Mhm.
turbines, I'm almost positive they have to have energy going to them. I'm curious to where their energy is gonna come from. Is it gonna come back the line?
They come back the line. We already asked that question. It does not come from Macon
Mhm.
Electric
Mhm.
or,
Trico,
Somebody said McCall Electric had to, give them, transformers, right, at each, isn't that correct?
I don't know.
do what?
We
That
did,
sounds-
Put transformers up.
we did find out
Sounds like a fire
from
hazard.
the CEO at Macomb said that they can't sell them power. They don't sell them any power.
Okay,
It comes back up the line.
okay.
They can't get it off the windmills. It comes back up the line from Colstrip.
So.
Is it a DC deal? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's a good question. It's because it doesn't do that, does it?
Is it a DC line going from them to Colstrip then?
I don't know.
I don't.
They get
No.
they get the power off conventional that's
Well-
generated from conventional sources like Northwest or whatever.
But they're building, I think that's a DC line south of Mount City.
It is.
Yeah, that's a DC line. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Isn't that why the connector has to be there too, is so that it goes back and forth? Am I
Yes.
wrong in thinking that? Okay, yeah. Versus just one way or whatever, yeah.
AC just goes one way,
Yeah.
right?
No, it goes both ways. AC does.
AC does?
AC only goes one way.
Yeah.
Oh, AC, yeah.
Yeah, AC just goes one, and that's what it is right now. Am I wrong in saying that from,
It goes from this corner to Colstrip.
and that's it? Yeah, but they're working, the reason why Grid United's doing that line is so that it'll be DC, so that it'll go back and forth.
The longer the runs, the DC works better.
Okay.
It's really, really high voltage. I'm not quite sure how it works.
Less loss.
Okay.
So if you're going long distance, you go DC.
That must be why that's even more important. Okay, I get it. Thank you.
But I think that should tie in all the grids.
Yeah.
Grid.
Yeah,
You want
that's
to talk
very
about the
exciting.
housing authority and buildings a little bit?
Yeah, I can do that officially. If you guys want to talk about, so I'd sent the packet from Housing Authority Billings, for you to choose your CRO, your certified regional organization, who can then distribute the funds from HB 819. So those are your funds that, have been allocated per county. You do have to sign a resolution by the end of December to choose your CRO. And so if you do not do that, the money that's been allocated towards Prairie County based on your tax income, will be given to another county. So
It's split out
by regions,
region.
yeah, so it could go. I don't know if it would directly stay in our region, though. They haven't
Thought it
specified that.
sounded like it was averaged out or was over multiple.
Anyway, we have no
No.
guarantees where it's gonna go if we don't pick a
Yeah.
housing
What do
authority.
we got?
Oh,
How much
I was gonna
is it?
start my computer. I'm sorry, I had this printed out for you and I forgot, but,
$205.
it's
No,
not,
I'm just teasing.
I think you're probably right.
No, it's not a lot compared to Billings.
It's not a lot, but if it can help, if you have a teacher who doesn't qualify for a home loan and it can buy down the loan. So if they can qualify for a $90,000 house and the house sells for $100,000 and the state money can come in and buy it down to $90,000 so that your teacher can qualify for the house, that gets you a teacher in your community, where you may not have had one before. Your issue is going to be the fact that you don't have a house for sale.
Don't have, the TB don't hold that for me.
You don't have a house for sale, unfortunately,
Yeah,
but
should build one.
maybe someone could build one and maybe these housing, so this person is a professional, probably has a good job, just doesn't qualify for the housing prices that are in our area because it's so out of whack in the state of Montana right now.
And then,
So it's matching funds that we would have to come up with, we would do our own housing
Mhm.
authority, but if we
Yeah.
can use another housing authority that already has match money in their kitties.
Yep. And see, and then Housing Authority Billings already has a private funder. And so they already have,
Is it 1-to-1?
1-to-1. That's some of these things. So I can see this here.
And then on the equity and stuff in the house. There's somehow where we get that money back, it's revolving loan, right?
It is a revolving loan. So, the most equity that someone could get in the house is 1%, which they're going to go back and look at due to the fact that I brought up the question of our housing stock in Montana is really old. And so if you buy a house for $100,000 and you didn't have to put any money down because the loan was bought down to $90,000, but now you need to put in $30,000 of a repipe into it because your toilets don't flush and your carpet in your kitchen is like disgusting. So, or whatever it might be. You're going to put into that house more than 1%. And so they're going to have conversations, I guess, about that. So that's something to think about for this. I know that Director Green had put this through when he was still a representative. And I think that they just tried to have a solution in the hopes that this would help. And it will help. It's just, I think the bigger issue is that we have older housing stock. And then the other question came up, how do you get these houses back into this program? Like, how do you graduate from this program to your next house? How do salaries keep up with that? The theory is that, it's your single young teacher and then she gets married and then they move out of the house and they buy a bigger house together. Well, what stops them from keeping the house that she qualified for and then renting that to someone else, and they've moved into their bigger house and now she rents this house to someone? So I feel like there's holes in the program that will need to be addressed by this next legislative round.
They haven't run into that problem yet.
Well, it hasn't started.
They will.
Nobody else has any houses either.
Maybe, but that was some of the things that we thought about was like, how do you get the house back into the system? And then like after you've put in however much money into it, and if you can only get 1% back, you're not moving out of that house. Like you're going to stay in it. So, but again, if it can help.
What's the allocation for Prairie County?
I can't have my computer to move it over. Can I email it to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got an audience waiting next
I know
week.
we have an article.
Sorry.
It's H.McNall,
I spell it MC.
MCNALL at prairiecounty.org.
Theoretically, and you can probably print off all of these things. It even has your sample of your resolution.
Okay.
And just talking points for questions. I can send you frequently asked questions too.
very late, we got going.
I want to miss what you said, the green, because I signed on to that bill,
Yeah,
but then I took my name off of that bill.
yeah, I know.
You did know?
No, I didn't know, but I mean, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
But I thought that the state was gonna help invest into, a home for a younger person, is that correct?
That's the theory of this program.
Yeah.
Is that the state buys down the loan so that, we
Yeah.
think it's like young professionals.
I
It's
must have
first
ate
time
my
home
copy of
buyer,
that.
young professional. That's probably who it is.
And I must have
Yeah.
ate my copy of that. I don't find it.
You need a copy?
Here's a
Yeah, one of these days.
I borrowed it. But yeah, so there's, I'm sure
More
you're
than
gonna see it
one
again.
page there, isn't it?
See it again, no,
That's
it
it.
passed though.
That's it.
It passed, but can it go into, I don't know what the proper term is. Do they tweak it at all?
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
amended.
Amend it, yeah. I could see amendments happening, maybe.
Yeah, legislatures don't tweak, they
I know.
amend.
That's the word, I couldn't think of the word amendments.
And like J.D. Lynch said, if it's got as many amendments as this bill's got, it's not a good bill in the first place, kill
I
it.
need to make sure that I'm on your.
That's why I voted against it.
Oh, yeah. That could be.
Got too many holes in
Too many
Why
amendments.
should taxpayers have to pay for somebody?
I think our Wi-Fi requires a password.
In my opinion.
I've been here before though, so.
Okay.
We have the public.
Isn't that something?
Are you running a little?
Let me
for
just-
cash?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, now try.
Use some money.
it.
Well, I had $4 billion of surplus, so why?
Too much
why not-
talking, not enough. Sorry about that.
Get along
That's
with
okay.
them.
You talk.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it.
I would.
You're gonna live a long time, got a good.
He's a little-
Do you want me to do you want me to poke into here or do you feel like?
Yeah.
You can poke it.